we're now going to brainstorm our event brief. We know that we've been given the theme of Hollywood for this particular event, and the event itself is the 21st birthday party. So, the best thing to do, we've got a blank canvas here, we need to start brainstorming some ideas. So the first thing I would usually do in this sort of scenario is take the actual name of the theme and put it into the middle of my board so that I can use that as my inspirational point. So, these pens never like working, do they, when you need them to? Okay. Hollywood. Hollywood is our theme. Okay, so from Hollywood we now need to look at the elements within our event that we're going to need to incorporate. I've always thought that one of the big things with a theme is colour. I need to determine the colour of my event. So, let's look at that then. Let's have, springing off of here, colour. What else? Another big element of an event, obviously, is food and drink. So, we'll have food and drink coming off of here. Food and drink. Now there's two other crucial areas or elements of an event that we also need to consider, especially if the event has a theme, which this one does. One is entertainment and music, and the other is decor. So in this case we're going to put music and entertainment together, even though they can be done separately, but for this exercise we're going to put them together. And of course the other big one is decor. So we've got here music and entertainment. Entertain. Up there for the moment. And then down here we have decor. Okay. As I said, I generally like to always try and ascertain what the colour scheme of my event is going to be, because from there I can do so much more. So to me, colour scheme for Hollywood, first thing that always springs to mind is gold and black. So let's put our colours down here. So one of my colours is gold and the other one is black. Perfect. I now have a place to start from. I know what my colour scheme is. That's going to ultimately help me with some of my decor. So other things that we might also want to consider are some random ideas and basic theme thoughts as well. So those will end up going around the board. Alright, so let's have a look at some of the ideas we might want to come up with for the entertainment. What's the first thing that springs to mind when you say Hollywood? Well, in my mind, one of the first things that I always think of is paparazzi. Paparazzi everywhere, jumping up from all over the place whenever you least expect them or least want them. So maybe some paparazzi actors would be a great idea within our Hollywood event. So, paparazzi. Oops, I now can't spell either, but that doesn't matter too much. We've got our paparazzi. What else springs to mind? Well, lots of dancing. I always find they like to dance. So I think we're definitely going to have some dancing within the event as well. So what type of music do they generally like within this type of thing? I'd say something that is probably fairly Hollywoodish. We could go with themed type of music. For example, we could have somebody like the Blues Brothers come and perform. Blues Brothers is fairly Hollywood, isn't it? There was a film made of them. Again, this really is just a chance for us to brainstorm at this point in time. Again, as I said, there are no wrong ideas. What about some lookalikes? Some Hollywood lookalikes? They always go down well. Who wouldn't like a Marilyn Monroe showing up at their event? So, lookalikes. Again, another great one. Alright, so we've looked at some music and entertainment. We've looked at the colour scheme. I haven't really looked at any decor yet, have we? So what do you think of when you think of Hollywood? Well, I think of directors' chairs, red carpets, clapperboards, Oscar awards, table glitter, all that type of thing. So let's start to make some notes of that. So we've got clapperboards. Oops, again, I can't spell. Clapperboards. And off there we could have some red carpet. Oscar statues. We might have a director's chair. I'd certainly think about having maybe some black and gold tablecloths and napkins with colour coordinated chair covers and sashes. So again, I would most definitely want table linen. I'd want chair covers. You can do a lot with the decor in this particular one. We mentioned some table confetti. So again, that will get us thinking about what style of table centrepiece that we might want. So what we haven't looked at yet is the food and drink. Well, to me, Hollywood certainly wouldn't be a huge sit-down meal, especially if it's a 21st birthday party. I might look more for some canapes and cocktail and champagne. So up here we've got canapes. Down here I've got cocktail, or cocktails, champagne, that type of thing. Okay, so already we've started to get quite a few ideas up here. Now, so far these ideas aren't really that radical. They're not that different. They're certainly things that most of us could think about. So then let's start to look at some basic theme ideas. Things that can really bring the theme to life. Things like we could base the event on an awards ceremony. And the awards could be things like, oh, I don't know, best dressed woman, worst dressed male, sexiest guest, that type of thing. So you could really do something with the whole award side of things. Some random thoughts. Hollywood. Now, is that going to be modern day Hollywood? Is it going to be more old style glamour? So you're going to actually need to determine whether or not it's one or the other, or whether it's a combination of both, or what you're going to do. Fireworks, that's another thing that I associate with something like a Hollywood night. Hollywood, Rodeo Drive, Hollywood Hills, the Hollywood sign, there's all those types of things that you can bring into it as well. Limousines, that's something else that springs to mind with Hollywood. Goodie bags. So what you would generally have as well is this pen really doesn't want to work, some random thoughts up here, which aren't really attached to the main elements of the event, but they're things that spring to mind when you think of Hollywood. So your random thoughts would be things like limousine, Hollywood Hills, Rodeo Drive, stars. How many people haven't seen some of the Hollywood stars actually have their star put into the Walk of Fame? It might be that as your guests come in, they actually walk down a Hollywood Walk of Fame, with the biggest star being the birthday girl and the people closest to her having stars as you walk along. So you see, there are so many different ideas that you can bring into this. So you've got your random thoughts up there, you've got your actual theme ideas down here. So your theme ideas are the overall concept of the actual event. We know it's Hollywood, but do we want to run a Hollywood theme throughout it just as a general theme, or do we want it to be more like maybe an awards ceremony? And if it was an awards ceremony, what are some of the different things that we would have on there? Well, we've already come across some ideas there. So as you can see, I very easily and very quickly managed to fill up an entire board of ideas. Now, like I said, these ideas aren't particularly radical. What I have done is just shown you how I would go about a concept like this. And it doesn't have to be Hollywood, it could be any concept. It might be Moulin Rouge, it could be black and white, it could be under the ocean, it could be anything. But the point is you have to start from somewhere, and this is a really good starting point. So, for example, if we've decided to go with modern day Hollywood, then the Blues Brothers might work really well. If we haven't decided to go with modern Hollywood, then maybe we might want to take out the Blues Brothers and do something like a Charlie Chaplin show instead. You see, so you can start looking at these ideas, because from all these ideas, others will spring off. And that's the whole idea of this. There are no right or wrong ideas. This is all about brainstorming. And the brainstorming process is the first part to creating any type of concept for any event. So have a go yourself. See what you come up with. Try something a little bit different. Don't go with the obvious one. And just see how many ideas then start springing off of all these other ideas.